welcome back to my author commentary for A Prince of Song and Shade. Today I'm going to double up and do chapters 39 and 40. They're kind of twin chapters and they're both relatively short, so I'll talk through both of those together today. In the first one, Talyn becomes aware of Zamaril and Cuinn's plan to smuggle Avani out of Montan and back into Mithraena, and then in the second we get a lovely short little chapter with a couple of reunions which were kind of nice and sweet to write. So let's dive in. Zamaril successfully gets Avani out of the castle in Arater and stashes her away so that Cuinn can essentially every night fly ahead of the group and stash her away somewhere further that they can then pick her up the next night, etc. Zamaril has asked Theak to be on night duty, him and his shield every night, so he can essentially facilitate that happening without anybody knowing. As a consequence, Cuinn is becoming increasingly exhausted, with barely any sleep, flying around the place and using his magic to quell the growing ever impatient wolves. They've kind of left the hot seat of Arater, and kind of having slavery thrown in their face every day, but their resilience and patience is at rock bottom, and now they've got the Montani cavalry escort treating them like filth under their shoes, and it's kind of reaching the end of any patience they might have already had, which dismays Talyn because it kind of makes her realise that even though the wolves have come so far and they've grown so much, they're still a relatively inexperienced wing, especially when it comes to leadership, especially when it comes to the Talyns, who in any other situation would probably have spent several more years at warrior kind of level before being promoted into a leadership role. And so it kind of brings into stark light for her that there is a lot of experience for them to grow into as leaders. They safely get across the causeway, though, back onto the ice plains, back into Mithraena, and Cuinn strategically allows Talyn to glimpse Avani in his tent, which kicks off another heated fight because Talyn is incandescently furious, rightfully so, in the sense of what he risked by taking Avani out of Montan without permission, and ostensibly for his own enjoyment. It was made clear to all of them. The response in Arater Palace when Avani went missing made it clear. The way they treat their slaves made it clear. If Cuinn had been caught with her, it probably would have meant war, potentially, or a serious consequence anyway, which she fully understands. In addition to the fact that the consequences may have been played out against not necessarily Montan, but the 60 wolves who were with Cuinn in Montan at the time. And so he's put them under risk, which is probably even more the reason she's so mad. He, again, in this heated kind of argument, slips up. He is very earnest in assuring her of his understanding of what she's done for him, what the wolves have done for him. But again, she's pretty mad, so that doesn't necessarily register in the heat of the moment, but will certainly continue to do so. And then it was kind of amusing for me, just because this is essentially almost all Zamaril's fault, that he kind of gets the entire dumping of her tirade at the end of that chapter, when she's just absolutely furious and venting it all on poor Zamaril, except not really poor Zamaril, because, yeah, this is actually all his fault. So it's kind of well-deserved, but also rather amusing. And then we jump onto chapter 40, where the fury between Cuinn and Talyn lingers all the way back to reaching the Skyreach and getting back home. For the first time ever, I think, Cuinn is genuinely irritated with Talyn. Like, he's just so sick of that attitude. He knows the reality of what's happening. Obviously, he knows that she doesn't, but she has not let this go like a dog with a bone. And I think for the first time ever, he's just like, just enough. I'm just utterly sick of getting this from you. And part of that, obviously, is with his song magic, that kind of lingering anger burns, has an outsized impact on him because he can actually read that emotion. But I thought that was also kind of amusing. Cuinn until this point has been very enamored of Talyn, and this is the first time she's actually genuinely annoyed him. We get his reunion with Jasper. Jasper's grown. Jasper's been scratching up poor Halun, but it was so cool to have him back in the picture. I love Jasper so much. He's my favourite animal character. And then, of course, with everyone being back at the Skyreach, Zamaril brings Halun up to Cuinn's room to meet with Avani, and they have their reunion, which is an absolutely life-altering event for poor Halun, who's had a lot of tragedy and has had to kind of forge a new life with the wolves and really no one else, his whole family, as he understood it, left behind dead in Montana, and to find that his niece actually still lives and she's now safe with him. That's a wonderful moment for Talyn to have. And Cuinn obviously picks up on all of that too. He's genuinely thrilled. He does not regret for a second risking what he did in helping Avani get out of Montana. But once again, he's tired and he's sick of hiding, and he allows Zamaril to kind of see that feeling on his face, which again just compounds the thinking that Zamaril is already doing in terms of Cuinn's real motives, real identity, etc. But as kind of Cuinn says at the end of this chapter, he's getting to the end of his own patience. I think his ability to hide, he just wants to stop. But yeah, delightful reunion for Talyn and Avani, and Avani becomes quite an interesting character too, which I enjoy, and it's always great having Jasper back in the picture. So yeah, hope you enjoyed those 2 chapters. We're going to start getting into some pretty escalating stuff as we head towards the final chapters of this book, which for those who have read it, we know it's going to be pretty epic in scale. I'm looking forward to diving into that. If you have any questions or comments on these 2 chapters, please drop them in the in the comments below, and I'll happily answer. I'd love to chat about the books. Otherwise, I really look forward to seeing you in chapter 41, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye.